I'm going to make a one-time, take it or leave it, no strings attached offer to ACC haters out there.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking to you, Seth Davis of CBS Sports.
Oh.
Talking to you, Joe Lunardi, who was just on with Adam Gold prior to this show. Talking to you, John Rothstein of CBS. Joe Lunardi of ESPN, by the way. One time, take it or leave it offer before the Sweet 16. Just say it. Come on, say you were wrong. If you do it, we won't hold it against you. We'll take you off the ACC haters list. Say the committee was wrong. Say you were duped by the net ranking. I don't care what the reasoning is. Just say you were wrong. Stop doubling down when the proof is already in the pudding. The ACC has 4 of the Sweet 16 teams remaining, which is not a one-off. It's not, oh, what a wacky tournament. Look how far the ACC has come. It is a continuation of the last bunch of years. Sports is one of the only places where everyone admits that nobody can be right all the time. No GM is perfect in draft picks every year. The best sports gamblers in the world are right about 56% of the time. They just bet so much money that 6% is lucrative. The best in the world are wrong a bunch. Sports, we understand it, yet still no one is ever willing to just come out and say, you know what, that was one of the ones I got wrong. Seth Davis, CBS Sports, tweeted this. The conference conversation is lots of fun, and when multiple teams do well in the tourney, the league has every right to flex. But the idea that NCAA tourney results matter more than an entire season's worth of games is silly. The tourney is wacky. That's why we love it. The problem is, when teams don't play each other in the regular season, it's just people choosing who's better. That's what the committee does. That's what the net rankings is supposed to do. If we could have a 380 team tournament and everybody could actually play everybody with 380 games of round robin, then maybe we could have that argument. But okay, the tourney is wacky, right? Any given year. One shining moment for any team. Let's make it a bigger sample size. Last 5 tourneys. Last 10 tourneys, last 30 tourneys. Go wherever you want to go. Once might be wacky, but consistently and continuously, the tourney, which is where you get all the best teams together, supposedly, and play games, right? My favorite way to decide who's the best basketball team is to play basketball. My favorite way to find the best basketball conferences is to play basketball. So if we get them all together and play basketball, and you take as big of a sample size as you want, continuously and consistently, the ACC is a powerhouse. The last 2 years, last 3 years, since the pandemic, pre-pandemic, since NIL, post-NIL, since transfer, pre-transfer, it's all the same. Seth Davis continued. This is Seth Davis, CBS Sports on Twitter. The ACC is still a good league. Come on.
Oh, okay.
I'll start over. The ACC is still a good league, but it's top-heavy. That's the issue when it comes to the number of bids. The league has performed very well, all caps very, in this tourney and should be celebrated for that, but using tourney results to relitigate the committee's work is folly. He called the ACC top-heavy. In the last 5 years, the ACC has had more different schools in the Sweet 16 than any conference. It's the definition of deep. They have more schools that in any given year in modern college basketball can make it to the deep tourney run that everybody covets. If you take away Duke and Carolina this season, because let's be real, if you're calling the ACC top-heavy, you're saying it's Duke and Carolina and the rest, right? It's Gladys Knight and the Pips. It's Duke and Carolina and the Pips. That's what he's saying. Well, if you take away Duke and Carolina from this year's tournament, which is what he's talking about, the ACC tumbles all the way from the team with the most Sweet 16 bids, or the conference with the most Sweet 16 bids. They tumble all the way down to tied for the second most Sweet 16 bids. That's if you take away the top of a top-heavy conference. John Rothstein, CBS Sports. This one's my favorite. There is no anti-ACC bias. I just present the truth. This is Rothstein's tweet. I just present the truth. Here are the facts. The ACC has performed exceptionally well in the last 3 NCAA tournaments, but the ACC has also had only 1/3 of its teams in the last 3 NCAA tournaments. End of tweet. That is literally Rothstein saying, sure, when you play basketball, they're very good, but when you decide in a room who's better, they don't have the success. That's exactly what he just said, as proof that the ACC isn't being talked down upon.
Oh, I'm sorry, we didn't cook our net rankings like the Big 12 does? Oh, what are they doing right now?
The committee behind closed doors decided that the ACC isn't as good. But when they play basketball, yeah, I'll give it to you. I'll admit it. They're really good, is what that tweet just said.
Yeah.
Joe Lunardi, ESPN bracketologist. This comes from his Sweet 16 Observations article, which can be found on ESPN.com. Allow me a word. Several, actually. Come on. Sorry. I'll start over. Allow me a word. Several, actually, on the ACC. Fans of the conference consistently and correctly countered my season-long description of its decline by insisting the league would be just fine when it mattered most. And once again, a conference ranking 5th, 7th, and 5th since the pandemic has been more than fine in the NCAA tournament. An 8-1 record through the first weekend can only be commended. They were not 5th, 7th, and 5th.
Yeah, based off what?
The tournament proves they're better than that. And if their win-loss records or whatever criteria he uses says they're 5th, 7th, and 5th, it's bad criteria.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, you know what's the hardest part about the ACC is they have to play other ACC teams. A whole bunch of them. So one time, free pass. I'll give you the Monopoly for those of you that still remember the Monopoly board game right before everything became a video game. I'll give you the get out of jail free card. Just say, hey, I was wrong. And I won't hold it against you. Matter of fact, you'll become someone I like. In the interest of both sides being heard, Jay Billis also has an ESPN article out. Mm-hmm. He ranked the 16 teams remaining. He said this as part of the Clemson description. The ACC would like a word with the selection committee. How could you find people with a straight face value the Mountain West over the ACC and the Big East? And how many years of data do you need to process things correctly? Well put, Billis. Fantastic. I'm not saying the ACC every year should be, without any kind of context or evaluation, be deemed the conference with the most possible entries into the tourney. But what I am saying is if you put more Mountain West teams into the tourney, you better be darn certain the ACC is some trash. Because they've earned the right to win ties, right? If your resumes look the same and one of you is Pitt and you had to play in the ACC and one of you is some other conference team, Pitt deserves to get in. I'm not saying Louisville should get in. I'm not saying teams that are not close. I'm saying, tie goes to the runner, tie goes to the ACC. Bubble should lean towards the ACC. Why? Because we have years and years and years of evidence to show you why. The Mountain West?
Yeah, they've only had San Diego State just this last year actually get into the Final Four.
Again, Mountain West, amongst their peers,
cool.
Amongst their peers, fantastic, right? If they want to go and talk trash to the Sun Belt, go nuts. They should not have a leg up on the Atlantic Coast Conference in basketball. Especially, and the most frustrating part about it is everything I read, Seth Davis's comments, John Rothstein's comments, Joe Lunardi's comments, they were all made after the round of 32. I thought we were through this. Once the games are played, it's like that's the beauty of sports, right? You have to go play the games. You can argue my team's better, your team's better, my team. I like my guy. I like my guy better. No, your guy stinks. You can have all of those arguments, and then what happens? You go play the game, and afterwards you have to say, well, you won. Or, hey, I won. Like it's the games are played. All of these, like, hey, the ACC still wasn't that good. We played the game. We saw it. They're still playing. They're still alive.